Hello and welcome to this Lightroom quick tip. And in this quick tip, it's about black and white conversion. And Lightroom has a couple of really cool ways to convert your color photos to black and white. So my name's Pete. I like pictures. Let's start. I chose this photo simply because there's a lot of color in it, and color is the key to a cool black and white conversion. Why is that? I'm going to show you. If we go to the Basic tab in the Develop module, we see the treatment here on top and it says color. Because, well, it's a color photo and we treat it as a color photo. But if we click black and white, Lightroom turns this photo black and white. And in many cases, this already looks quite okay. We still have all of these toning tools or tone tools available, like exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites and blacks. The only sliders that are not available are the vibrance and the saturation slider. We still have the clarity slider here as well. So we can play around with the brightness of the photo and the different parts of the histogram, the blacks, the shadows, the exposure, the highlights and the whites. But that is not all. The interesting thing is, and please take a look here at HSL color B and W, when I click on color, you see it switches back to HSL. HSL means hue, saturation, and luminance. And when I click black and white, it switches to black and white. So one thing, I click here in color, I open this tab up and I see, okay, I can change the hue, the saturation and the luminance. And I click black and white, right? And I open this and I'm suddenly in the black and white mix. And Lightroom does an auto black and white mix. What is an auto black and white mix? You see, I have sliders for red, orange, yellow, green, aqua, blue, purple, and magenta. And I can change the brightness of each of these colors. In previous versions of Lightroom, there was the possibility to tell Lightroom whether to make this automatic black and white mix or not. I don't know when exactly this changed. I was a bit surprised when I sat down to record this video that this option is not available anymore. But you can reset these sliders, of course, by either double clicking each of these sliders, which takes a bit, or you can hold down the Alt key option on Mac and click. You see black and white mix changes to reset black and white mix, and you just click that and everything is set to 0. Actually, I like that much better than the auto toning. So here's the thing. Auto toning or auto black and white mix doesn't give me the result that I like, and no change is something I like much better with this photo, but I can adjust that, of course. I can, for example, make the greens darker or brighter. And you see that changes the whole photo a lot. And that is really the secret to cool black and white photos, to change the colors in there. And you see sometimes things get a bit blotchy if we change them too much. And that is with the color channels often the case. How can we get rid of that problem? There's actually a trick involved. We go to the detail settings, and the secret lies here in the noise reduction. And we can simply punch up the color noise reduction. And it didn't do a lot now, even though I went very high to 79. But if we change the smoothness, see what happens. Everything gets smoothed out here. We still have some fringing in here, And that's something, yeah, because that is a different color. But we can get rid of many of these blotches by simply doing a noise reduction in the color channels. Especially the blue channel is very, very often pretty blotchy, and we see that. So we can smooth out in the noise reduction the color channels a bit, or even a lot, to get rid of the blotchiness. But see, we change the color channels here. We can really make a very cool black and white mixes here, change the whole atmosphere of the photo. And see, if we bring up the orange, everything changes here. And then we can go back to the basic tab, for example, and play around with the contrast, bring the contrast up, the clarity up, and we can make the exact black and white photo that we want. And I'm gonna show you another example. Let's take this one. This is an edited photo, so I make a snapshot here because I don't want to lose the edit. And we go to the black and white tab, go to the black and white here, and I like that. But I'm bringing down the greens. Here's another cool thing, because I don't see what exact color I'm changing, right? Because this is black and white, and that's why this little, I don't know what it is, thingy comes in handy. So I'm gonna click that, and you see the cursor change, and I can actually click and drag in the photo to the tone that I want to change. And you see, obviously this is yellow, so I can bring down the yellows or bring them up. And I can bring down the greens here, obviously. No, these are also yellows. So that is something to do this all very intuitively. We can go to that one, and I also want to make a snapshot here because I don't want to change, lose the edit, and go to the black and white tab, back to the, so I'm gonna reset that. And I want to bring these shadows down a bit. Yes, bring that up a bit. And we have a really, really cool black and white mix. There is another way, so that is probably the best way to do that, the way with most control you have. But I have another way for you, and I'm gonna reset that photo. So that was the original one. So that was the edit I made. And here's something that I sometimes do. So I stay in the color treatment. So I don't change to black and white, but I stay in the color treatment, and I go to the HSL tab, and I go to saturation, and bring all of these sliders down to 0. So what I basically do is to make a black and white conversion, like here in the black and white tab, without a black and white mix. So the difference, there's no real difference. It's a bit more contrasty here. If we see, we set it. It's a bit more contrasty. It is similar. It is not exactly the same. The great thing is, if we do that here, we have the presence, so the vibrance and the saturation sliders still available. They won't be visible as color, of course, because we reduce saturation, but we can still change things here. If we change the saturation, bring the saturation up, things will get a bit darker. If you bring it down, things will get a bit brighter. Same goes for the vibrance. That doesn't change too much. Yeah, here we still have a couple of more sliders to play with, which is sometimes cool. But the really cool thing about that, if we bring all of these saturation sliders down to 0, we can bring certain colors in to our liking, like yellow and orange, for example. And we can create really cool monochrome pictures. And I'll show you another thing, and I think we already exceeded the quick tip. I'll show you with this self-portrait that I made, and it takes a bit. So I'm gonna make a snapshot here. I'm gonna reset that, and you see what we can do here. That's my stupid face without the edit. And we go to the black and white settings, and you see here there are a couple of blotches. My skin at that time wasn't too smooth, right? And if we go to the black and white mix, we're gonna reset that. And if we bring up the reds, for example, all these blemishes in the skin disappear. So we can do that the other way around. You see everything that was red will now be much darker. So look like a zombie. So that is a cool way to reduce blemishes in skin tones when working in black and white. And there's another thing I want to show you, and now we exceeded the quick tip quite a bit, I think. We do the same thing. We bring down the saturation sliders, make everything black and white, and we can boost the oranges, just for example, and bring down the reds and introduce a bit of red in here. And we can create really cool desaturated color effects with that one. So no real black and white. So the real strength in black and white conversion lies in the black and white mix here. And you can play with the sliders here, especially when working with portraits. The red and the orange slider come in really handy. There's not so much yellow usually in Caucasian skin. And so yeah, I hope this helped a bit. So yeah, this video exceeded the typical quick tip time quite a bit, but I hope it was worth it. There is another way of toning your black and white photos. So give your black and white photos a color toning in Lightroom, and the trick is the split toning tool. I made a video about that. The link to that should be somewhere here. I haven't really figured out yet how YouTube shows the links, but it's also in the description of this video. So this one's for today. Bye bye, till next time.
I'm pretty sure you want to subscribe to this channel.
Why do you say that?
Because